Welcome. You shall not use Power Automate for evil, only for good. May the force of Power Automate be with you. Welcome, RPA champions. This is the RPA champion, and in today's video, we are going to be doing something really fun. Well, this is a live. The objective of this live is to learn Power Automate. This live is going to be packed with different features, different fun things, different tips that you will learn about Power Automate that are going to make you much faster in building your flows, and your flows will also be much more resistant. This live is for everybody that wants to learn Power Automate, no matter your skill level. Obviously, if you are an advanced user of Power Automate, you should find something better to watch. However, if you are just starting with Power Automate, or if you are an intermediate user of Power Automate, this will be the right thing for you. Now, one more thing. We are going to make this extra fun because we are going to be learning Power Automate, and at the same time, we are going to be breaking Twitter. What do I mean by breaking Twitter? So Microsoft has had the brilliant idea of putting into the hands of everybody Microsoft Power Automate, which is an RPA tool that helps us do automation. Now, what happens when we do automation on social media? Well, it happens that we end up with having just a lot of robots mimicking humans and breaking social media and the purpose of social media. Well, so what else better to do than just troll around on social media and use Power Automate to be the biggest troll that we can possibly ever become without automation and RPA. Now, what greater way, ladies and gentlemen, to learn Power Automate and a new technology. All right, having said that, I will make my face disappear and we will get immediately into the video. All right, let's get started. So, all right, if you would like to follow along, you can. The objective of today will be to get started, get familiar with Power Automate in a really quick way, and also to build a process that is going to look, for example, like let's try this, something like this maybe. Well, since this is live, we are going to have plenty of moments where we are going to be twisting our thumbs around and waiting for things to happen. All right, so let's check this process out and let's see if I have saved it so that we have a demonstration. Otherwise, we are just going to start from scratch. Now, is this running or not? We will find out in a second. It is running, it is over here. Now, let's see what this process does. So it is going to like this picture, it is going to comment on President Biden's post, that is great. And after that, it is going to go to the follow page and it is just going to troll around and follow a couple of people. Now, there is different technologies that we're going to use in this process. So we're going to use if, else, we're going to use subflows, we're going to use everything. In this video, you will learn everything that we're going to require to create a trolling flow like this. But apart from the jokes and the trolling process, after this video, you will be able to create, to understand and have a good understanding of Power Automate and how to, most importantly, not just create basic simple automations, but also create automations that will not fail. What does that mean? I mean automations that will be fail-proof and that can recover gracefully and properly. All right, ladies and gentlemen, now that we have seen a sample taste of what we are about to break, let's start from scratch. So the first thing that we're going to do is create a new process. I will skip the walkthrough of installing Microsoft Power Automate or anything like that. We are just going to go directly into creating a flow. Now, let's name this. What are we going to do? We are going to go again on Twitter, and let's maybe go. Yeah, all right. Let's go on Twitter. Let's recreate those tabs that I did in the previous process. So let's like, and then let's comment, and then let's, I don't know, we'll see during the stream what we feel like doing. Maybe something different. I don't know. So let's call this process the Twitter troll. Excellent. Excellent, excellent. All right, now once we create our process, it takes a couple of minutes, or well, not minutes, a couple of seconds for Power Automate to launch the builder. The builder or the studio, this is a pane where we're going to be using to build our process. All of the magic is going to happen in here. Just to give you, if you are a first-time watcher and somebody that got here just to learn Power Automate, a quick overview of this, just so that you know how to get started. Actions are your commands or things that you're going to use in your process, is things that you're going to drag and drop in here inside of your main screen. Your main screen, this is where the magic happens, where the automation takes place. And then here we have our variables, we have UI elements that we interact with, and also we have images. Pretty simple, very simple, but very powerful also at the same time. All right. Enough with the compliments for Power Automate. Let's get started. Now, the first thing that we can do is we can record a process. Now, in today's video, we are going to be using a mixture of recording and a mixture of adding the elements. So I always suggest to start maybe by adding the elements, because it is going to be you will learn a little bit better the different elements and how to fine tune them and when to use which element. All right. So just 1 second. And let me just make sure that we have audio. Perfect, we have audio. All right, let's continue down and let's launch Google Chrome. Now, from my experience, I have been using Power Automate on Edge for quite a bit of time, and it has been giving me a couple of issues, so I have decided to switch to Google Chrome. Now, if you want to use any of the other browsers except for Edge, you need to download the extension. So you would go to the Google Chrome extension shop and just look for the Power Automate extension. So, all right, let's launch a new instance. So we are launching Chrome. Which URL are we going to go to? So let's say we are going to be trolling around on Twitter. So let's get the Twitter URL. All right, now that we have the Twitter URL, let's insert it right here. And then this is a couple of cool features that you will find in Power Automate, and that is that you can set a couple of things that in other tools you would have to spend a little bit more time doing. So for example, we usually want to maximize our screen. We also want to do different things on when we open. So for example, if there is a pop-up, we would definitely want to close it and kind of continue with our flow. Also, we have exception handling that is built right into here. So for example, if I click on the exception handling, I can do much more with exception handling. Right now, we are not going to be looking at exception handling. Why? Because we're going to do it a little bit later when we have a couple of actions actually that might fail. Opening Twitter Home, usually it is not going to fail. All right. Excuse me. And now let's save this, and we have our first action. Ladies and gentlemen, if this is your first time using Power Automate, you have just created your first web flow that is going to launch Google Chrome on my other desktop. Here we go. And it's just going to go to the Twitter homepage. Perfect. Nothing complex, nothing hard. Now let's do the next step. So the next step is going to be let's launch this process again. Let's go to the Twitter page and find what will be our next things that we want to do. So let's say we would like to, for example, click around in different places. So let's find out how we can click around, how we can extract text, and also how we can click on different elements, like for example when we have follow, 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 which is the same element but repeated different times. How can we make Power Automate click on all three of them and also identify individually all three of them. Same thing goes with the like or with this. Every image has a different one, and also every image has, since this page is made in React and the front end of React auto-generates the HTML tags, these tags are very hard for you to spy. So if you spy them for the first time, once you reload the page, you will not be able to interact with your elements. Let me show you what we mean. So, all right, now let's say we would like to like this post. So we are going to be a good robot troll, and first thing that we're going to do is we're going to be liking every single thing that we come upon. So to do something like that, we would go to the web automation and we take a look at the different actions that are allowed for us to do. So we can do all these things. So what would I have to do? I would have to probably click on a download, click on a web page. Yes, I think it is. It would be something probably like this. Now we have automatically see that there is a pop-up that comes up and it says browser. Now this is a way for Power Automate to show you variables. It puts the parenthesis signs for some reason and it puts it around the word that is a variable. So every time that you see 2 percentage signs and a word, that is a variable being used by Microsoft. Now what is going on here? When we created the first action, the action to launch Chrome, we created a variable called browser, and that was automatically created by Power Automate, since Power Automate is so great, and it has created this variable. We have saved our instance of our variable in here so that we can access it and use it later inside of our flows. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let's add an element and see what happens. Very well. So let's open our our Twitter page, and let's see what we would like to add. All right. So I would like to add. All right. It's being a little bit glitchy. There we go. Come on, come on. There we go. So once you have identified the element that you would like to spy, you would just click on it with Control and click. Now this is being a little bit slow, but as you can see, I have spied this element. Now you see that the CSS selector is something pretty odd and pretty strange, and that is probably going to break during our automation. So let's see what happens. So right now I have said that, all right, we're going to open this and then we're going to like the first post. Now let's see what happens with this when we run this. And here we are going to start looking already into a little bit of exception handling and how to fine-tune our selectors. All right, we did not also select to let's see what happens. Is it going to work? Is it going to like the page? We are waiting. It has probably not identified the element, and let's go back to our process and we can see that it has not identified the element. So what happens? Object reference not set to an instance of an object. Well, it basically okay, we have not linked it to the proper instance, so let's try using our web recorder and just get it via the web recorder and see what the selector is via the web recorder. Now let's use Google Chrome and let's get this selector. So I will go here and I will start recording. So I will click on this. After that, I will click on this. I will type something and I will click on reply. Now, if I can find the link, that is always the best. So that is great. We have clicked on the different things, and then maybe let's just click on here. So if you can notice right here, I am on the selector. That is a link. Now that is the best thing that we could click on. If I'm clicking kind of on the div, yes, it's inside of the link, but it's better if I obviously use the link. So in this case, I'm not going to be highlighting the show more. I'll be highlighting the link and be clicking on the link. All right. So once I click on the link, I will go to the next page, and here I have the different people that I could follow. So I will continue clicking and clicking and clicking and clicking, and let's finish and see what we have generated from us in Power Automate. All right. So this was the element that we created, and then we see that it inserted some comments. So this that you see right here, this is a comment. If you would like to insert some comments inside of your flow, all you have to do is just search for the comment, drag and drop it, and insert it wherever you'd like to see it. All right, so for example, example comment. All right. So comments we have seen, and let's delete all of this because it's adding a little bit things that we don't need right now. Now we can also close this, which is going to, or delete this. Now if you want to delete different things, all you need to do is hit the delete key. Now we see that there is an issue with this selector, so I'm just going to get rid of it and see if the selector that it found during the recorder, it's working better. If it's not working better, then I will get into the details and I will start fine-tuning and playing around with the selector. Very well. All right, so the first thing that it should do, it should click on the like. So it did click on the like actually, and it clicked on the reply. Now it is not going to click. Oh, it did click on the reply as well. So now it should click on the other page. All right, well, this is working pretty fine. We'll have to do a little bit of minor fine-tuning. So right here, as we can see, we have to do a little bit of fine-tuning because it has broken for some reason, even though we told it that we wanted to. So it has broken on this one exactly. So why did it break exactly on this one? Not sure if it was not able to find it on what the issue is, but let's resolve the issue maybe with a workaround. So what we have done right here is we clicked on different links, but we don't really want to use the selector. Why don't we use a different action? So all right, why don't we use a different action? So for example, let's use the image part of Power Automate, for example. So here we have these images. Now we have seen how to use variables right here. Maybe not in detail because Power Automate allows us to use all kinds of different variables, and maybe later we'll see how we can use maybe lists or different kinds of variables. But for now, let's see how we can use images. So here we are using variables. Now I would like to use an image. So instead of using, for example, like the CSS selector or different dynamic selectors here, why don't I use the follow button image, and I find this follow button and I tell the mouse to hover over the image that it finds and just click on that image. That could be a quick and dirty workaround for what we're trying to do. Could be. Let's give it a shot. All right, so to do something like that, I would search for image, and let me just show you how intuitive and easy it is to use Power Automate. Alright, we are going to search for image. We have different options, so we can classify an image, wait for an image, move mouse to image. I think that might be something interesting for us. So, alright, I think it's right here. So this is the pane. It's a configuration pane just like all of the others from Microsoft Power Automate. It asks us to capture an image or add an image from our gallery. Now we don't have any images in our gallery, so let's just capture an image. Alright, so it's allowing us to capture an image. Let's capture the following image. Let's not get any other text. I think that looks good, and let's give it a meaningful name, otherwise things are going to get messy pretty quick. Alright, so ladies and gentlemen, now that we have the image, let's see what are the different options. So movement and style, instant, yes, occurrence. So occurrence means basically which image is it. So for example, if I open our Twitter page and I go to our Twitter page right here, occurrence means if we would set occurrence to 3, we would click on 1, 2, 3. We would click on the third element. So I'm not sure if it would be this one or this one, but it would be not the first one, it would be the third one. Not sure if it starts counting like 1, 2, and 3, or just like 1, 2, and 3. But anyways, that's what occurrence is. So send a click after moving the mouse. Now that is what we want to do. We want to send a left click occurrence on the first occurrence that we find. So what it's going to do is going to find the first occurrence, is going to check it, second occurrence is going to check it, third occurrence is going to do our click. So we could go something like second occurrence just to demonstrate this concept. Now in the advanced options, we do want to wait for the image to appear, otherwise we might our process might fail. Alright, let's close the advanced, and that is pretty much all that we have to do right now. Now let's remove the other selectors, and let's also, well, this part, what was this part? So let's go inside of our variables, and inside of our variables we can see all the different variables that we have. So here we have a click link on web page, and we see that we're using the variable path. So alright, I will go and rename my variable just really quickly, rename this to an element, and I will rename it to path, no, not to path, excuse me, I will rename it to, is this the like button? And just remember that you can also, is it really the like button? I'm not sure. It is what it is. So the SVG, we can also rename things by pressing F2 directly. So this is going to be the reply. And then what else do we have? We have, yeah, alright, the reply button. Not the best naming convention I am using. So do not follow my example for the naming convention, ladies and gentlemen, please. Alright. So what is missing right now in our automation is when we insert some text. We're just clicking mindlessly around. Now let's also add some text into the box that we are going to insert text in. Now there is a bunch of different ways to insert text. We have to insert the text, use the way that makes more sense in our example. So for example, if I were to go here and mimic what our robot does, our robot clicks here, and after that it inserts some text. Now I can already see that here the kind of, it's ticking, meaning that it's ready to accept text, meaning that I don't have to click anywhere else. I can just send some keys and it will take the text, which is kind of great. Why? Because Power Automate has already an option that will allow us to send some text. Now let's find what we would want to do. So form filling, but we just want to send some text. So how about send keystrokes? Maybe could it be something like that? Send keys. Yes, we could use the send keys, for example, in between the reply and the reply button, and we could be like, this is a great post. The process lens troll bot. Hell yeah. All right. So what else? Send text as hardware keys. Now this is important important option. So some input fields on web pages are going to have JavaScript associated with them that's going to be trigger on change or on key up or key down. So if you are sending hardware keys like this, this is going to emulate actual keystrokes, like as if you are using the keyboard, except of just inserting the value inside of the value of the of your input fields. All right, where did my text go? So where did my text go? This is a great post. Keep them coming. Nothing more valuable than a comment like this. Now let's save this. Let's run this sad process and see what happens. And then we'll start maybe adding some exception handling and maybe adding a little bit more functionality to our process. But let's see how this performs, and based on the performance of this, the idea is to make this more robust and solid so that it will never fail, and so that we can also add a loop and do this a countless number of times. All right, very good. This is working so far. We've managed to reply to the post, and then we go here, and then we should just click on the first follow link matching the image. Let's see if it is going to find and match the first occurrence of the image. Will it? It doesn't look like it will. So we'll have to go and investigate. Let's see what happened here. Image not found. All right. So let's see why was the image not found? Very well, because we did not select the image. Now let's try this one more time. We've lost all the variables, so we cannot try it from the beginning. Now let me show you another fun or another practical thing. So we can use labels and go to actions. So let's first add a label to jump around in our process. And once I insert this, you will know exactly what I'm talking about. Let's take this label and let's put it here and call it just skipperoo. So we're gonna skipperoo here, and then let's look for the go and move it to the top of our process. All right, just like so. Excellent. So we are going to skip to go, and I think this makes sense to everybody. We are going to start our process, go here, and then we're just gonna magically jump to the label down here and continue our process from here. Why? Because we do not want to repeat these steps anymore. Why? Because we're just testing our process right now, but this could also be used in your processes for logic reasons or whatever you are building. All right, let's play this and see what happens. So it's opening Twitter as expected, and so far so good. It should be opening, liking, and commenting. First comment, first liking, as soon as Twitter loads. Well, that was quick. Okay, because we skipped all of those steps. All right, so we end up here again, and this was not able to find image again. All right, now let's try again. All right, we are not giving up. Let's try capturing this image again, maybe giving it a little bit more images to reference. So here we have this one again. We're going to move it above. Let's let's move it with normal speed, and it should be able to find it. Let's see what happens if it is going to find it or not. If it doesn't find it, we'll just resort to trying to build a selector from scratch. Now I'm not sure if is let's see what happens. So it's going to load LinkedIn, it's going to load Twitter, it is going to just jump directly to this page, and right here it should search for the image and click on the follow. Now let's see if that is going to happen. Let's give it a couple of seconds. Looks like it's not going to happen again. Alright, we're going to have to find out why this is not working. Image not found on the screen. Now, are you looking at the right screen, my robot friend? We could create a sample, but no. Let's debug this a little bit further. All right. Well, before I was looking for the kind of for something a little bit confusing. So all right. That was my mistake. Now let's add a couple of follow images. Let's get one more. We could just be getting also the text follow and looking for the text follow. Well, there is always many different ways that we can do different things in our automate and different automations. Most of the time, it is based on your feeling, on your experience, and that is pretty much it. Now let's close a couple of instances of Twitter that I have open, and let's run this again. Alright, let's see what happens. So it is starting, it is opening Twitter on another page, and no. It is loading, and let's see if it's going to find the image. If it's going to match the image, it has not matched the image once again. Now we will have to debug this really, because this is kind of annoying. So we can spend time debugging this, or we can move on and do something a little bit more interesting. I would personally like to debug this and find out why we are not able to find this image. So we have all of the images that we would like to add, and yeah, we do not want this one, we do want this one. So let's give it one final try. Let's save it and let's run it one more time. If this time it is not going to work, I will not waste your time anymore with this automation. We will move on to something else. We will see maybe a little bit of exception handling, and then we will see maybe another couple of features, and that should already do it for this flow. Now let's see if it's going to find it. No, it is still not able to find the follow button. That is very annoying. I am sorry that this is not working. Usually it works. I would have to really debug and see why it is not working. If somebody has an idea what am I forgetting, let me know please in the comments, or just ping me in anyway. It will be pretty interesting. Yeah, I will not spend any more time debugging this, but let's just see how, for example, we can use exception handling on this, or what, when something like this would fail, what could we possibly do? Now, what we could do is we could add a subflow. Now let's add a subflow, and let's call this subflow, let's call it recovery. So every time our process fails, it is going to go to this subflow and is going to try to do some logic to recover. Now, it is also important that you don't have all of your logic. You should just have your main logic in your main flow, and all of the other unnecessary things you should move them into the subflows so that your process is as neat as possible. Also keep in mind that you can pass variables in input and output between main flows and subflows, and also Power Automate in the cloud by adding variables in here, input and output. It's pretty straightforward. All you have to do is just add the different variables here. That is pretty much it. That is for the input, and for the output, very similar concept. So, all right. So in our case, let's see how we would handle the exception of this element failing. We would go to the error. We would, and we have different options that we can do. So we can retry this action. If it fails, we can try it one more time to see if it is going to run again. And if that also fails, we can add a different rule. So we can set a variable. We haven't seen variables in detail, but we might see them later or another time. So we can set a variable, meaning that we could set a variable to false or to true, so that we can, something else happens in our process. And we can also run a subflow. So we can also first set a variable, then we can run a subflow. So for example, our recovery subflow, we can set the new variable to whatever we want, and then we could throw an error or continue flow on run and just go to the next action. Well, this is beautiful for exception handling. It is really convenient to use exception handling like this, because it simplifies really a lot the exception handling. So what I will do, I will just go to the recovery. If this image is not matched, I will just go to the recovery flow, and I will just end my process like this. Now it is also good practice just to close the web browser. Let's see if we have something that we can close the web browser. We'll use our instance. Very simple, as you can see, ladies and gentlemen. So in case our process flow, it is going to go automatically to recovery, and it is going to give us a message. Let's give this message. Let's put a message box in here. So let's display a message, and this message we're gonna say failure, if that's how you spell it, and that's pretty much it. So our process is gonna run. It is going to come here. It is going to go to recovery if this fails, but let's try not to make this fail again. All right, so we have different images. Let's go back here and let's see why we cannot get this image. So let's capture it again. Let's capture only this. All right, and let's see maybe with that if it is going to work. So we are going to move this all the way at the top. So this will have priority. We will actually delete all of the other ones. We will set the occurrence to 1. And we will also send a mouse click. Now let's see what we are doing on error. Continue flow on run, and we're going to recover. All right, let's try it out, ladies and gentlemen. Perfect. I think this is going to be the time that this is actually going to actually work. So let's see if it's going to work. If it's not going to work, we should get a pop-up message on one of my screens. Now I'm still waiting for a pop-up message. Nothing has happened so far, so which is telling me, oh, all right, well, there we go, our pop-up message has failed, so we were not able to identify the image once again. Now unfortunately I could spend half an hour here just trying to debug why it's not able to find this image, especially because I did something very similar previously and it was able to find it. Now why don't we take a peek together and see why it is working in the previous process and not in this process. The mysteries of Power Automate and this brand new tools. Alright, very well. Let's wait for this to open and let's jump inside. So this is the same process, very similar process, doing very similar things. Now move image, move to the follow, and we are doing exactly the same. We're finding exactly the same image and we are pretty much doing the same things. Very well, very well, very well. So let's see if we could do something else. Actually, no, ladies and gentlemen, I would not be wasting any more of your time. I think that this should be good. We have seen basically how to get a little bit familiar with Power Automate. We have seen how Microsoft has put into the hands of anybody a tool that is so powerful that could basically allow anybody to create social media bots or bots that behave like humans and that just troll around on social media. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for sticking around for this stream. As you know, streams are pretty fun if there is a little bit more people, and also if there's a little bit more people that can ask questions. Otherwise, it is just me going on and rambling on without really a clear aim. But anyways, don't forget to tune in every week. I will be having one session every week where I will be discussing different things from Power Automate and giving you a chance to ask your questions as well. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for sticking with me, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you so much.